Alright, so yesterday, and yes, the stream setup is going to be a little bit better. Yesterday, I made a video dedicated all about Steven's account, but it was more on my generalized thoughts. It was a mess. This one is still not scripted, but I have a little bit more experience from last time, so I think I'm going to do a little bit better. And this is just my opinion and my thought, but as a member of the audience, my opinions and thoughts are definitely of value to Daniel, to Steven, and to Hosa. At least they should be. If they're not, get your damn stuff in check. So I'll be doing other stuff on a different monitor, so I'll be commentating a little bit less, but this is the stream. I'll be doing another stream tomorrow if everything goes as planned about Daniel, and I will be reviewing his hour-long video step by step. Except I will have the playback speed turned up a little bit so that it's easier, and if I can, I'll try to stop and read a bunch of the sections out. So, before Daniel uploaded a video, OddJayAlter, which is Jay's channel, uploaded a video covering the topic as well. Jay did some investigating within Daniel's channel, which I can definitely attribute. I can guarantee you, when he says investigating, I can guarantee you that that's hyped up more than it really is. So, like, he just DM'd a few people and got some response back. Like, you gotta understand this. He was just looking around. It sounds a lot more proper than it is, and I think that's just clever deception. He DM'd a few people, asked them about the inconsistencies that he was noticing, and got a response back. That's what happened. Or at least, to my understanding, that's what happened. So, if I have audio outtakes still on, and I'm sorry this is all inconsistent and I'm not good at this. If you look at anything else on my channel, I'm not good at any of this. Yeah. So let's go to OddJayAlter. Let's look at his video on this. It's called Why I'm Not Part of Danplan. And if I'm being completely honest, I look at that, OddJayAlter, right now. I don't know if you guys can actually see this. What's that? OddJayAlter. Oh, well, OddJayAlter. Sorry. He streamed 2 weeks at a time, 1 month. He did it in like little short bursts. After this video got uploaded, this is more consistent. I could even stretch and suffice to say this could have been part of a publicity stunt. Because as somebody who didn't know what Danplan was until I watched Steven's video on why I leave Danplan, I feel like this could have been done at a certain point in time to be a publicity stunt to gain a bunch more viewers. And honestly, I believe that this could in fact be blown over as just that. Drama brings people in. The view counts on these videos are ridiculous. I mean, that's close to 1 million, when this doesn't even reach 50K. So, and then if you look at some of these, it's 10K, 4K. Like, when Mixer bought Ninja, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, fuck Fortnite, never liked it. I've played it, so I have my own opinions on that, and I can make an ode to bullshit later. But Mixer, unless you played on Xbox and you saw the little goddamn Mixer thing on the side of every single time you weren't signed in, then you would have no idea what Mixer is. Until that happened. Ninja was something that everybody knew. So when Mixer bought him, they lost a lot of money, and it might not be that good in return. But they gained a lot of attention. They were able to touch Twitch's view count for the first time. And YouTube was still way up there at that point, so that's not gonna happen. But if you think about it like this, Danplan, way up there. Steven's video, really up there, because Steven was an alternate channel. Jay, who also appeared on Danplan, was below, metaphorically, Twitch. Jay uploaded this, he touched the viewer count of Steven's videos. Like, okay. Look at this. 2.5 million. This view count is consistent. More people viewed this than are subscribed to Danplan. That in and of itself shows something. But OddJayAlter was able to get really far up there in that view count, to gain 1 million views off of that. In fact, I have done something to an extent like that as well. So if you go into my channel, look to popular uploads. This, I'm a Capitalist JT Music 30-minute version, this right here, I did that because there was not a single 1-hour version. I just plugged it into iMovie. I had nothing else I could do. I didn't plan on gaining a bunch of viewers. But look at this. Like, I gained a bunch of viewers from that. If I go to my About section, I have 1,000 views. Before I uploaded that video, I had 27. I had 12 subscribers, so I got a few more. But that's just an example. An unintentional, but yet still example. So let's just play this.
One thing to note is that I am a bit more distant from this whole thing compared to Steven, because I am relatively new in terms of joining back in. I'm a freshman new join, and the length of time that I really did care for the channel was a lot shorter than Steven. Steven was there pretty much from the beginning. All of the information that I'm going to be using is from Dan, Steven, and Hosa, and some of the animators from the animation team. So it is as direct as I can get. To get the story started off, I will go over some of the background. So I met Dan when I was in university first year. During that time, Dan wanted to do something related to YouTube. And because he needed people, I joined in. And because I also, at the time, was interested in YouTube as well. Like, I wouldn't have joined in if I wasn't. That's when I learned Dan already had a channel that he previously made with Hosa and Steven, when they were physically there when Dan made.
Okay, so also, I don't know for OBS if there's a way for me to hotkey my headphone volume up and down. So I'm just kind of like sliding the bars, but whatever. What Jay just said, Dan already had a channel that he made with Hosa and Steven. That part, that was what should have been said at that is what this channel is. If you go into the channel's about page, which I have gone into many times, I don't need to go back, it literally says, once upon a time, a couple of friends wanted to make some stupid or silly videos, and so we did. Friends. Not friend, not just Hosa. Friends. And let me put more emphasis on friends. These guys were close-knit friends. Jay was a friend. Jay can say he's not part of Danplan. He was part of Danplan. You guys... He was part of Danplan. I don't give a damn if the company that Daniel was bullshitting about didn't make it into it. You were a consistent person. You were on more than twice. I'm gonna go, one sec. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna count the videos that I would consider Daniel's animation. Actually, I'm just gonna go look at the By the Way playlist. He has 69 By the Ways, which I would arguably say about 6 of them aren't actually, I'd say 9 aren't actually related to the By the Way series. You produced 60 episodes, with Jay appearing in 4. He was 6% of your whole channel. Steven was all of it. And the way I got that number, well, he's 7%. The way I got that number is if you just go into a goddamn calculator, if you just go into a goddamn calculator, divide 4 by 60, what do you fucking know? If Jay appeared in 4 of the videos, which I know he appeared in more, and let's say there were 60 actual By the Way animation videos, which I would consider the quality content of the channel, he was 7% 7% at least of your channel. You want to know what I consider You want to know how many of these quality videos Steven was in? Let's see what this equals out to. Oh shit, what do you fucking know? He was the channel. You want to know how many Hosa appeared in? Well, let's see. What do you fucking know? Then, I think I just cracked my computer. Then, how many did Daniel appear in? If I'm being 100% honest, I would consider Daniel to have appeared in 62 quality videos. Because of videos like the Leonardo da Vinci video, I considered very, very quality. And the Ababwa video, I'd consider quality. Actually, I'd also consider the Pooping Robber quality, but Hosa worked on that as well, so I am including them in 60. Daniel was 130% of the channel. If Daniel left in Outrage, the channel would die. If Daniel left, period, the channel would die. That's just how it works, instantly. The channel would have no way to recover. Because that number is at 100%. You want to know something? Guess what Steven and Hosa's numbers are at? 100%. Hosa? He could have been let down easy, and people would understand that he had to go to the military as part of his Korean services. That could have been understandable. And I think that having Jay as the replacement to Hosa would have been amazing. Because you had the perfect combination of Steven and Hosa's personality. So what better could a positive Hosa and a negative Steven personality, what better combination of personalities would work? Well, let's combine two Stevens, two negatives. Now that's one hell of a combo. So, this would, Jay replacing Hosa would have made a major shift inside of the channel's attitude overall. But other than that, view counts would still be up. Because of the nature and the way that Hosa departed. And because a lot of people would think he'd be back. Viewership would tank for a little bit, but that's just business. So now, let's go back into, because honestly, actually, if I really think about it, because you gotta understand, add a little bit more weight to the videos. Are You a Sociopath? A video that appeared in hundreds and thousands of people's recommended when they have never heard of Danplan. It dragged in a bunch of viewers. It has a huge view count. You wanna know why? Because it shows Steven and Jay, their personalities meshing perfectly. So honestly, I would put Jay at a solid 8 out of 60 of the video viewership. So even then, 13%. I mean, come on, Daniel, get your head out of your ass. Jay, I don't know who to be mad at, because actually, no, I know who to be mad at. We need to be mad at the community that caused this. The community that was so hard on Daniel. The community that requested to pump out content, because we need to understand, YouTubers have lives. We can't just ask them to pump out content constantly. We need to respect their time. Because in the grand scheme of things, I mean, other YouTubers' claims have been right. Everybody's like, yeah, nah, you need a break, take a day off. And then one day that a video wasn't uploaded, everybody's like, oh my god, he died! Like, it's our fault that we have put YouTubers into a grinder like this. This is a platform where people do what they love. They should be allowed to. So I'm going to take my mic off again, and I'm just going to continue.
But Dan left it alone without much on it, one video at a time. He released his first video in August 2014, so I'm assuming he made it prior to that, but I don't know the exact date. So I got on board, we did a couple of gaming recordings, and yeah.
Okay, something to also understand. This channel started with gaming recordings. So, if you guys don't know by now, gaming recordings are incredibly unpopular. I mean, if you go on my video of the Thirsty Challenge, Thirsty Dire Challenge I did, which I'm gonna tell you, took a little while to come up with that name. The recording setup was awful, but is that something that would captivate your interest? Yeah, probably. For the duration of the goddamn video. Probably the worst gameplay on Xbox ever. That would probably have done better. The problem is, it gets repetitive, it gets boring, it gets dull. I am a huge fan of people like Jacksepticeye and Markiplier. I have watched Markiplier's Prop Hunt series all the way through, and I have counted 27 times. And now you might be wondering, well damn, this kid got no life. First of all, you're right. Second of all, can't deny it. Third of all, the videos are good. So I replayed them, and I just keep watching them and watching them. I get all of Mark's humor and all of the personality's humor out of the videos, because his recent videos aren't that good. I'd say the best recent video that Markiplier has done is the Tank Simulator, which got on, top 3 in all of gaming trending, and his, Bunny Rabbit. So, yeah. Excuse me for a moment. So, another one of his best videos is the bunny video. Jacksepticeye, the only video that has made me click on him recently is his Happy Wheels video. And that's because that's a classic from 2016 that he has finally redone that series. That's the only reason I clicked back on Jacksepticeye. And these YouTubers were such a huge part of my life. When the grinder of YouTube started turning, when demonetization kept coming around, when COPPA laws and FTC and all this bullshit kept pouring in, it's restricting people from doing what they love. So I outsource it to smaller YouTube channels, and then they get repetitive or popular, and then they have to die, so then YouTube is dying as a platform, but that's a topic for a different video. This channel was immune to this. This channel didn't give a damn about it. This channel's content was not affected by it. Who are we to give them a time limit for what they essentially loved? I don't know, man.
It's around second, third year of my university when our schedule really started to diverge due to co-op. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but long story short, when I was in school, then I had co-op, and then I got into co-op, and so ever since then, our schedule was really offbeat. The reason why I bring up the co-op...
Co-op, for people who don't know, from what I can conclude, co-op is pretty much it's either you go and study somewhere else to increase your education on the topic, or B, you go with a business to continue learning, but it's not an internship because it's not an internship because you can get paid, or you're not really there to do work, you're there to study what goes on. So that's just trying to provide a better understanding. And I bumped up the playback speed. Actually, I'm probably just going to skip a huge portion of this. To summarize up Jay's next few things, they were doing this a lot, but Jay got moved to a place in the mountains, and he stresses very much that it had such awful internet connection that it was out for a week. So literally every day internet connection in South Carolina. I mean, what do you know? But he got moved to the mountains, so we couldn't do recordings. So Daniel stopped contacting him for recordings. In fact, Daniel stopped contacting him as a friend entirely. So yeah.
Is because just prior to that, just as the channel was growing, Dan decided himself to split the channel's revenue. That's when things really started. So it's around this time, I guess, so July 2019, that I started to get a hunch or a feeling. I had a hunch that something was off with Danplan channel internally. So I decided to do a small investigation privately, and when Dan found out...
We've already discussed what an investigation means. I mean, let's be real here.
...about it, that I was digging, he adamantly tried to make me drop it. He did not want me to dig around. And that is when I learned several extremely dangerous issues.
Okay. If I am being 100% serious, in normal business, anything like that, if somebody took it upon themselves to dig into my goddamn business without my goddamn permission, I would take action any way that I could against that person. I mean, you're going through hard work. Clearly there were corners that were cut off. Daniel even called himself lazy in one of his videos, and that connected with me a lot. Bunch. Called himself lazy because unless he needs to do it, like, really, he doesn't do it. Which, yeah. Number one, I think, this is a side note, Daniel, all of your vlogs that you privatized, please make them public again. Yes, they're just vlogs, and they're not that interesting. It's not the animation quality content. But providing people with vlogs is going to inform people on what your personality is more. In videos, you're more plain-sided. People don't know who you are. That's why you're so easy to take down. If people would see you more as a human, rather than a corrupt business owner, things would go a lot better, Daniel.
The first issue that I found, the main issue was between the past meeting Dan posted, but mainly Dan. I found out that a few years prior to
Okay, so mainly between Dan and Steven. Alright, Chucklefuck, listen up. This video was uploaded a week after Steven's thing. Mainly between Dan and Steven, my ass. You're just trying to direct the information that you have gathered and make it seem more important because of the information that the audience has already acquired due to Steven's video.
time of investigation, so 2019, so a few years prior to that, just as the channel was growing, Dan decided himself to split the channel's revenue 50-50 with himself and Hosa. He purposely left out Steven. Now, Dan later reasoned.
Alright. Quote unquote purposely left out Steven. I am not going to try to justify Dan's actions because this was a wrong. Steven should have been together, and yes. However, I feel that Jay has used information incorrectly here. Whenever he says early on he decided to split the revenue 50-50, I believe that that means that during the gaming days, because revenue is something that comes up early in a YouTube channel, they were monetizing their goddamn videos early. Dan even said on Reddit forums that he had posted, or like a bunch of these sites, the communities were coming and watching his first video. He was getting views, he was getting money. While it was small, it was still money, and being the caring person he was, he decided to split it with Hosa. Hosa's the one who drew everything, Daniel's the one who came up with the story, edited it, and voiced it. That is what I think this information is coming from. So I am debating this.
That the reason Steven was left out was that Steven was very uncaring about the YouTube project. The example Dan gave to me was that Steven would be on his phone during the recording. I actually confirmed that with Steven that it only happened twice, and both occurred during a very long recording session, lasting 4 hours.
Okay, Daniel, here you fucked up. You shouldn't have even tried to state that that's what happened. Yes, he was on his phone. That shouldn't mean a goddamn thing. Like, my mans, if I dead ass want to play some goddamn Dragon City while I'm at work, I'll get my ass fired. But hey, what do you know? Like, being on your phone during something as lax as YouTube shouldn't matter. Okay? That's just how I see it.
One with the Hunger Game and one with the Mafia. And Steven would also not do much in terms of the channel with editing, etc. But I'm pretty sure a lot.
This is correct. He did not edit. He I don't know all the logistics from behind the scenes. He could have been the one recording his voice. He could have been the one sifting through what he thought was good. But I don't think so. I think that it was a blanket recording, and I also don't think that Daniel did this all on his own. I think that Daniel at one point or another reached out and asked for help from the team once or twice. Understandable. He can't bear that burden all on his own. But Steven? I'm trying to find new things to say. He didn't do very much. He recorded, and his comedy was worth it. His comedy brought hundreds of people to the channel, including myself. His comedy was what caused the channel to grow.
A lot of you Danplan followers might know, Steven had an incredibly massive influence. Like, he had a massive audience. The influence that Steven had cannot be ignored. I estimate that at this point, almost, if not over 40% of the channel probably came to see Steven. On an important side note also, Hossa specifically told Dan that Hossa did not want the channel money. Hossa wanted Dan to use the money to grow the channel. But Dan later essentially pushed the money onto Hossa for at least 15%, so the Danplan revenue was...
Bullshit, Arcadio. Pushed the money onto Hossa? Hossa, if he genuinely cared that much about the channel, to deny the money repeatedly, what he should have done is he should have taken into account and hired animators on his side. He was the animator, he knew how it worked, he should have been the one hiring people. That should have been his job. Daniel should have been managing them. Daniel should have been overviewing the channel, keeping all the community together. Daniel should have been more active in the community tab. Like, don't mind my recommended, it's garbage. Community tab. 1 post, 2 post, 3 post, 4 post, 5 post, 6 post. I mean, he literally 2 years ago, he made a post called "What Dis?" He didn't. This community tab should have been much more used. Daniel's job should have been managing the community. Editing the videos, because he was the community head. However, I could also picture Steven as the community head. Granted, his personality is not suited for this. Steven should have picked up slack, he should have been on the Discord, he should have been managing things with everybody else. Daniel picked off a lot more than he could chew. But for this to have been a channel, Daniel should have more evenly disputed the jobs. This could have been planned better. Daniel deserved a lot of the money. Honestly, I believe that Daniel, because, okay, he did not do his job within the community. That is just a given. He did it sometimes. In the Discord, which I'm not a part of, he literally made a challenge video about going to the Discord, implying that he's never on the Discord. He has mods that keep it together. And bless their hearts. But there's more he could have done to receive the money, the paycheck that he deserved. I believe that Daniel could have received 66% of the whole channel's revenue if he did all of this. If he kept up with the community tab, kept engaging in the community tab, kept commenting instead of just going down and liking. Kept commenting on other people's posts and questions. His vlogs are almost definitely a source of him putting the community together. However, he took them all down, which negates the whole point of them.
Split 85 to Dan, 15 to Zach. That's the side note. So Steven, and of course, Steven, 0. So Steven eventually learned later that Dan earned a lot of money from Danplan channel. To quote Steven, or as far as I heard, Dan earned roughly 40,000 Canadian dollars with 3 videos, but Steven was getting almost none of it, like almost 0%, aside from the somewhat pay.
Alright. Again, I'm giving Dan the benefit of the doubt here. This is early on. Remember, this channel, most of his videos were pumped out in recent years after the channel got popular, because then he could start to hire animators. So, that's kind of a big problemo, if that makes any sense. Yeah, Daniel. Alright. Well, something that I want to say. This will be. Yeah, no. Whenever he was able to hire more animators, it picked up speed again. Okay? So it shouldn't be Daniel's fault. For all of this. That's just my opinion. I'm not very good at this, if you can't already tell. But yeah, this will get better as time goes on, and eventually I'm going to review everything and edit a video, this video and audio, into an actual video, and as just part of the Ode to Danplan, I might even hire one of my friends who's a really good drawer, who me and her are currently working on a manga together. Me story, her drawing. I'm willing to animate it so that this is a proper Ode to Danplan, and I'll be able to revise my statements. This is not scripted in the goddamn slightest. So what I think is gonna happen, after I make this Ode to 3-parter, I am going to wait a whole month. I'm going to wait until March the 1st before I start to make a script. I'm going to go back, review everything, and make a goddamn script. I'm going to start by going to every single video, watching it, and taking notes. I am going to use these notes and to summarize each video, to highlight the personalities and have timestamps of where to show in my video. Then, I'm going to go to the OddJayAlter. I am going to dissect his whole channel, as well as actually Steven's. I'm going to dissect their whole live streams, timestamp it, take notes, etc. Then I'm going to... I don't think writing a script would be good. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to generalize my thoughts. I'm going to have something to cover these key points, and then that's it. That's what I'm going to do. So, y'all can get hyped for it or whatever, but this all will be compiled into a 2-hour-long quality video. So, yeah.
So Steven approached Dan about it later, about the monetary issue, and Steven requested 20% of the channel share. Dan might say that it's 33%. That is not true. Steven himself requested 20%.
I don't give a damn what he requested. If I look at this properly, Daniel, with the work that he put in, had, I'm going to be very generous here and say 40% of the channel shares. Which did mean that he was still the leading owner of the channel. However, formally, Hosa was the leader of the channel. Hosa kind of stopped doing as much whenever animators were hired, or at least his significance whittled in animation. So, Daniel, at current point in time, before all the drama, owned 40% of the channel, being generous. Steven owned a solid 30% of the channel. Not 33, he owned a solid 30% of the channel. With Hosa also owning a solid 30% of the channel. Now, if anything, actually, Steven didn't even own a solid 30% of the channel. Steven owned a solid 25% of the channel, and the rest of the 5 went to the community. 2% was owned by the community, and 3% was owned by the animators. Actually, no. The other 5% was owned by the community. The animators were the community as well. If the community was removed, let's say you had clear, man, I can't hear me, clear wrap over something, and to preserve it. And let's just say that you cut a hole in it, about 5%, but you still cut a hole in it. The food on the inside is gonna rot. If you take the community out of the deal, the channel's gonna rot and decay and die. And welcome to the situation we have right now.
Someone else mentioned 33, but that was not Steven. Steven himself mentioned 20. Now, this number might be a tad bit high, honestly, but it's not an impossibly workable number. It's a workable number. This is when Dan, first and foremost, fucks up in an ungodly fashion. Dan tells Steven a straight up no, that he gets 0%, and that he's
bullshit, taken out of context, bullshit. Daniel did not tell Steven that he gets 0%. What Daniel said was he didn't know how much of the channel was his. Steven didn't. These 2 points are unrelated. Steven didn't just ask for this amount of money, and then Daniel say, no, you're 0%. Daniel said that he didn't know how many viewers were attributed to him. In a separate context that was then taken out of context and put into this video. So if you look at it this way, Jay is a poor quality secondary source. It is taken from animators with bias thrown into it, and given to him, and then that information, he spins it together to fit his own story, what makes logical sense. And that's where he fucks up in a godly fashion. But I will utmost agree, Daniel fucked up in a godly fashion by not just estimating. By not just deadass looking Steven in the face and saying all of it. Alright?
It's just an employee, that he doesn't have a share, nothing more, and that he doesn't deserve a share of the channel. Here's the thing though. Steven's not dumb. And to be honest, he's one of probably the smarter people that I met. He knows his self-value, he knows his worth. The
Then why the fuck are we in this position?
critical mistake that Dan makes at this point wasn't just rejecting the share proposal and then gutting it to zero. It's the implications behind that action. Pretty much when I talk about a share, there's... Okay, so I'll put a disclaimer right now. I don't study business. Business is not my forte, but I do know at least the fundamentals.
I mean, that's kind of obvious. So I'm just gonna skip a little.
Less than this amount of hours, and full-time is someone who works this many hours minimum. This is something that I'm gonna...
Okay, wait, so now, animator pay, that's a nice topic. Animator pay. When it comes down to animator pay, you gotta understand, Daniel was 100% right whenever he said that he hired them as subcontractors. It wasn't a full-time, it wasn't a part-time, this was the legal term. So if Daniel found a legal damn loophole that he used, good job for him. Don't shit on him for it. Good job for him. Because when people find loopholes and use it, they get fixed, they get monitored, and people make money.
Go off more on the personal view between the part-time and full-time. If you are working for a company part-time, that's what it is, part-time, and they often have an hourly wage. Meaning, is still grossly underpaid, and that was his excuse to do nothing about the animation team, nothing else. If you want to leave, leave. I'm not telling you to stay here forever. I'm not going to do anything. You notice a very hypocritical thing, because I was there when Dan did one of the recruitment process or hiring process for the animator. And he explained that later to me, that he hires the best of the best out of the hundreds of applications that he gets. But during my investigation, he says this to me, and this is...
Yeah, okay. 5-year-old submits an application of a goddamn stick figure, and somebody who has spent their whole life getting an art degree, who has been searching for a job forever, but who's a fan of the channel and wants to support it, and will also get a job out of it, needs money for their student loans, and Daniel provides them with an opportunity. Don't fucking hate on him for that. He is fueling the economy. He is allowing people to get their necessities and to begin to pay back their stuff. They're allowing people to show their talent on his channel, because even if they don't stay on the damn channel, other people are going to notice what they're doing on the channel, and they're going to be able to hire based on that.
This is to quote Dan, people will leave eventually. No one plans on staying at one place forever.
No fucking shit. People will leave eventually. People will not stay in one place forever. However, it's not an excuse to just ignore them. But you can't expect somebody to be a part of the channel the whole time. To be part of it. Unless they are one of the core members and have a social obligation. Even Steven, who was a core member, who had a social obligation, left. Daniel was correct. Daniel was highly intelligent to realize this. Very philosophical to realize this. And Daniel, if you did use this as an excuse properly to not help the art community, fuck you. Let me just... There's nothing stronger than love, except an M32 rotary grenade launcher. Because fuck you and everyone around you. I mean, seriously. Come on, Daniel.
And that was his excuse to do nothing about the animation team. Nothing else. If you want to leave, leave. I'm not telling you to stay here forever. I'm not going to do anything. So that's what I found out during my investigation.
Again, I believe that it should have been Hosa's job to help support the animation team. That's what I believe. And I also believe that Daniel believed in his community enough that they'd come together. Okay, whenever you look at this, Steven, Jay, Daniel, I'm not opinionated or biased towards one of them. I don't agree with Jay, and I don't agree with Steven. Whenever I do Daniel's video, I am going to tear into this man's. The difference between the two is Steven was scripted, so he could more clearly organize his thoughts, which allowed him to organize how he wanted to persuade the audience to his side. This, scripted. Or at least I believe it is. This is secondhand biased information. Steven is one of the core members. His information can be more taken at face value, but it's a lot more opinion-based based on all the arguments that have been quote-unquote happening. So, the only person that has shown and come forward with real evidence has been Daniel. As I said in my last stream, if these animators are willing to give witness accounts, aren't willing to, none of this is gonna blow over. It's not. Because everybody's gonna think there's so much evidence when there isn't. And I want them to prove me wrong. If there is evidence of underpaying, and if there is evidence of non-negotiation on Daniel's part, then show us. But if not, shut your ass up. Because there is no way in hell that your words are gospel.
Now, I want to make this clear, and up to this point, I did things with the intention of helping Dan. He was my friend. I had no negative bias against Dan. But here is where he makes another set of mistakes.
Bullshit, Arcadio.
So when I did the investigation, it was around early August of 2019. 4.5 months after Dan contacts me. I told Dan pretty much everything that I found wrong and ways to improve it. But his argument or rebuttal for a lot of things that I said or that I brought up was that he knew what he was doing.
Alright. Remind me again, what the fuck did you bring up? What did you bring up? Oh yeah! Yeah, that's everything that you said beforehand? Is that what you're making me imply that you brought up? Because I guarantee you did not have a 20-minute conversation that calmly about every single individual detail. No, arguments are heated both ways and do not work like this. So what exactly did you bring up? Yeah, alright. You were saying?
He knew what, or he was in this a lot longer and he's aware of it. And
He most likely said this once or twice. Because whenever he probably cut corners on animation. Or cut corners during the hiring process. Or in the community aspect. He could have almost definitely have said he was doing this a lot longer, he knows what he's doing. I 100% fucking agree with this. Because he had been. The problem is, what he was doing clearly wasn't working. But he just didn't realize it. I guarantee you, Jay did not do a good job conveying that.
Basically, he denied or swept a lot of the crucial bits and pieces of the problem right under.
Excuse me, what problem again?
And his reply to my investigation was to...
What part of the investigation? You keep saying things that are out there. What part of the investigation? Whenever it came down to Steven's video, Steven is a lot more intelligent than Jay. That is on just dead ass clear. Steven took time writing his script and condensing the information that he could provide to the best of his ability. This is just... I mean, what else am I supposed to call this other than a goddamn publicity stunt? I mean, come the fuck on. I know I'm intelligent enough to realize the dilemmas in his information. But come the fuck on, community. You guys got so much goddamn tunnel vision that you guys can't sit and dissect the goddamn video for 5 seconds?
Quote him, to quote Dan again, Jay, from now on, don't ever interfere or dig around in the inner workings of the channel. It's my channel. What he implied with that was basically, he told me to fuck off when I was trying to help him.
Okay, he told you to fuck off. I'm gonna say it again. Fuck off, Jay. What exactly did you say to try to help him? What exactly? Because he was pissed off. So pissed off. And I would be too if somebody did digging and was just spewing absolute nonsense. We don't know what you said. For all you could have fucking said is that, why'd you put a goddamn picture of this Asian dude with glasses in one of your videos? That could have been the whole argument. You need to provide details. The whole bullshit about not exposing Daniel, the very first thing should have been a Daniel exposed. Because when it wasn't, the fuck was there to expose?
The second point was, during the investigation, I actually learned that I was going to be brought on board as a permanent member potentially. Now, I want to make this next part dead clear. I got Hosa's explicit green light. He gave me full permission to release this information. If you want to confirm it with Hosa, you can later, but I want to make this clear. I didn't force Hosa to agree to this. Hosa agreed to this willingly. Basically, I was supposed to replace Hosa. Hosa has already left to Korea for his mandatory military service for the next 2 years. So, I decided to ask Dan implicitly if I would get shares. The answer was no. I would get nothing. I was pretty much told the same thing as Steven, even though I was still technically one of the originals. I was there for, I believe, the second video and onward, but I wasn't original enough for Dan.
What was the exact conversation? What exact words were said? You can give me the hypotheticals all you want, but when it comes down to it, the fuck, the hell, the shit.
not even original, you get 1% or 0.5% of the share of the channel, even when becoming a full member. And those are the actual numbers that I use to ask Dan. Would I get 1%, 0.5%? The answer was no. And that's similar to Steven. He implied that I was a disposable unit then, because I knew those definitions. I know exactly what a share means. For Steven and I, when being told 0%, it's not about the money. It's not. It's about what the number represents in telling what you are worth to the channel. The money I can earn myself, you're right. It's just being told that I'm worth 0% to a channel that you want me to become a full-time member for. And what he told me right after saying that was probably one of the most insulting things and the oddest thing I've ever heard. Dan told me that he would support me if I made my own channel so that I can get started there, but I wouldn't get anything from Danplan, and that I would get reference in his channel, basically publicity or exposure pay. And to quote Dan again, go make your own channel. I will support you, give you shoutouts, help you get sponsors, but you will never get a share from Danplan. For those who might not fully understand what Dan just...
Alright, so in order for you to understand this, Dan was paying him in clout. And if y'all don't know what that term means, where the fuck have you been living for the past 20 goddamn years? Basically, clout is playing somebody in publicity, in reference, when you're essentially requesting free work for clout. In exchange for somebody to give you a shout out. Now granted, to some people this would have been a really good deal if they just started having some sort of something to put on a job application, like for an animator, of proof of what you've done and what you can do. Clout is definitely could be a good pay at the start, but you shouldn't do it often. You shouldn't come up and straight up use it as a bargaining. Like, Daniel was 2,003% wrong in this situation. I mean, come the fuck on, Daniel. What did you think was gonna happen?
Said, Dan told one of his potentially core members to go make his own company and earn money through that way, and that I would get nothing from Danplan, and that I won't get anything that I seemingly deserve. And the example that he used to justify this reasoning.
And who said that you deserved this? Oh, your bitch ass self? Oh, well, fuck you.
Was using Vanoss channel. For those who may not know Vanoss, he is like 10 plus, I forgot his sub count, but like he is a giant in YouTube community who does a lot of collab work with his online friends. But the difference between Vanoss and Danplan is that when Vanoss reached out to do collabs, everyone in that channel already had their own channel. Like they were buddies because they were new and they worked together. What Dan was pretty much telling us was, I know you have nothing, go make your own thing and do it that way. So after this, I really went, fuck it. From then on, no matter what I saw wrong with the channel, I just stayed silent because Dan didn't want any of my input. The third mistake came soon after, when he said he would give me hourly pay for the recording sessions, which I have rejected up to this point. Now, some of you guys might be confused as to why I rejected it. I just mentioned being ticked off for not getting any monetary share for the channel, even if I was going to be a permanent member. Why reject money now? Because one, the pay suggestion that he was making was $20 per hour. Now, to those who might think this is good, allow me to enlighten you on how the recording sessions usually go. Now, you might have heard from Steven recording sessions lasting up to 4 hours. That's for him. That was on 2 occasions, for the Hunger Games and for Mafia. For me...
Thank you for fucking providing some clarity. I mean, come on. The two things that are supposed to be supporting each other, Jay's video and Steven's video, that information conflicted with the key point of Steven's. That was proof. That, when the other side acknowledges something that your side has been saying has been going on, Involuntary? That is fucking proof.
The recording sessions usually last 1 hour, maybe up to 2, maybe. And at best, we record bi-weekly. Meaning, in the best case scenario, right, 20 times 2-hour recording session times 2 recording per month, that's $80 per month. And that is in the best case scenario, and our recording frequency has...
Excuse me for 1 second. Alright, sorry, family matter. So, yeah.
Gone down drastically ever since school started. And just for reference, Dan at this point roughly earns, I believe, 20,000 Canadian dollars per month. 2, the reason why I rejected it was it wasn't under the right circumstances. Dan no longer contacts me as a friend. The only time he truly contacts me is when it's just related to making content for Danplan. If you contact a friend, what do you contact them?
This, as somebody who has started to run a business, I can with utmost certainty say when you use friends as part of it, it can be difficult to contact them within the business and outside of it.
For homework, for help, to get something, or just to...
And, okay, wait. Daniel could also just be a student on top of his stuff. I mean, if you think about it, he is working endlessly so that he can get all of his stuff done. Who are you to assume that that just means that you're not his friend anymore?
Just for the sake of saying hi. Dan did none of that. I haven't heard Dan reach out to me just for the sake of saying hi. Whenever he did, it was always for content.
Again, awkwardness, but also, Dan isn't somebody who's good with the community. That's just given at this point.
Let me ask you guys something. Tell me a job or an occupation where you have an hourly rate and is expected to be available upon call for your service or entertainment, with erratic and inconsistent work hours, and that once your service and entertainment value is done, you are shooed away, you're no longer contacted until your next service.
That is not how it works. Daniel, to all intents and purposes, is a semi-professional. He has to schedule recordings ahead of time. Everybody there must be aware of the time that the recordings take place.
When you're next called, and you're just an outsider, even after frequent use. Because I'll tell you what I felt like when being told like this. He was pretty much treating me like a call girl, a stripper or a hooker that he can just call on dial on demand. It's actually really hard to damage my pride. I'm not the one to put heavy pride value on the physical being called Jay. But kudos to Dan. He managed to piss me off to the point of hurting my pride. Another thing that
Pride implies that you are proud of something. What were you proud of? What did he damage that you were proud of? What specifically did he dwindle it? And how did he do so? I mean, quit just making bullshit claims. I mean, come the fuck on.
I honestly kind of glossed over that I think you guys need to know was that I warned Dan about this exact thing happening 5 months ago on August 10th, 2019. After talking with Steven, Hosa, and Dan, when I was telling you about the investigation, I predicted that Steven would leave Danplan. And due to certain promises with Dan, I gave Dan a hypothetical. What will you do if someone leaves Danplan? Let it be me, Hosa, Steven, or a group of animators, or just a single animator. What will you do? And this was his response. To quote Dan, I don't care who leaves. This is my channel, and I will run it based on my belief. If it sinks...
Good for fucking him. What he was doing was working at this time. He believed that that's what he should do. Kudos to him for sticking with his gut.
Because of that, it sinks. I have to give credit where credit is due. If you have that much gut on sticking to your belief, kudos to you. It's stupid, but kudos to you. And so after that, I let Dan do whatever he wants. It's his channel. He showed his determination for it. And that's why I say I'm not part of Danplan officially. I refuse to be. I've been stating that ever since these series of events. If Dan's serious...
Ever since these series of events. Oh, okay. Cool. So you say you're not part of Danplan because of all the drama surrounding it. Smart. Oust yourself from something that is currently rotting and decaying. Good on you. Except it makes you look worse.
Seriously and sincerely wants me to be a permanent member, I have several conditions and changes that needs to be made. But until then, I will be a guest at best. I don't want to be a part of this. By the way, he's in one of my classes. He's physically there in the same room for 3 hours. He has not approached me. Dan might be a good friend, maybe, but he's a horrible business partner. I would never do business with Dan, personally. He's cunning, though. He's a showman. He knows how to grab public's attention and make himself look good. For example, one point in his vlog, he left the part about him getting a nosebleed in. Why? If you really didn't want people to worry about you, I wouldn't have put that in. I've been getting nosebleed for the past 5 days. I'm not going to mention it. There's no point in it. Dan putting in Saint Achievement Unlocked in one of his vlogs. Yeah, to make yourself look good. I didn't know about this until recently, but Dan apparently bought $6,000 to $8,000 worth of PS4 and Nintendo Switch to give out to random people. Like, you're not Mr. Beast. Dan doing charity live stream or doing the charity
Mr. Beast? Somebody who challenged himself and then used the money to give to other people. He was a good, kind-hearted person. Who the fuck are you to say that he was copying? And that's the bad no-no.
Show off for homeless or whatever the live stream was about. Dan, you know what? Doing a charity is fine, especially for the capital to do so, and which Dan does have. Like, but it's such a most knee-jerk response when doing a charity. Yeah, you did a charity. It's a good thing, but do you even believe in what you're donating for? Why are you donating to homeless? I'm not even gonna dispute donating to charity. It is a good act. If you have the extra monetary, like extra money, then donate to charity. Well, make sure the charity isn't fishy or anything, but donate, sure. That's not what I'm getting at. But before you donate, at least take care of your own crew first. I got these numbers from HOSA very recently. HOSA ended up getting $42,000 from Dan on May 2019. And that was after tax too. Meaning, on May 2019, if we divide 42,000 by 0.15, since HOSA was 15%, we get $280,000. That means Dan, on gross amount, had earned at least more than $280,000 by May 2019. So, since May, he obviously earned more, and HOSA estimated that Dan probably made roughly $400,000, if not more. The reason why I bring that number up is that this is to quote HOSA again. This is coming from HOSA directly. In his opinion, in HOSA's opinion, the videos created by the animators are worth at least $1,500 Canadian per video. And even if we just use the minimum wage in Canada of working 4 hours a day for an entire month on minimum wage, that's at least $1,360 Canadian. And just to recap, Dan pays him an inconsistent $450. So, like, you can do charity if you want, but take care of your people first. Take care of your people first. Now, one thing that Dan might bring up if he ever talks about this is that, well, I'm paying them really well considering where they live, because most of our animators does live in East Asia, where the minimum wage is very, very low. But you're not in Philippines. You're not in China. You're in Canada.
I mean, that's just good business. If somebody lived in Asia and their minimum wage was 2 cents, somebody lived in America, the minimum wage was $7. I'd pay the American more simply because of basic economics, first of all, because to the Asian, costs are less because of the way that minimum wage works. Having minimum wage that is high increase the cost of everything. which granted can a lot of the times put Asia in a bad spot. However, because of that, it's cheap work, so their sales and what they're selling is huge. The economy in Asia is definitely circling. I guarantee you, student loans, less, because there's less money for people to pay for them. Tuition is probably things are less, which means you wouldn't need as much money. Which means you pay them the amount of money based on what it means to them. You pay them for what can cover their food and their rent. Based on where they live, that can change. But it's not on the state in the United States, it's based on where in the world you live, how much you typically get.
Paid in with a Canadian standard. You are grossly underpaying literally the people who bring your videos to life, who earns you at least like 20 times what they make.
Yes, Amazon, please pay your employees as much as the head of Amazon makes. No, that's not how fucking business works. Daniel was not at the top of it. Hosa and Steven and Daniel were at the top of it. That's the problem.
And yeah, this is why I say I'm not part of Danplan. Or this is why I reject everything Dan has tried to give to me so far. Yeah, that's about it. I'll see you later.
Okay, some of my final thoughts on the video. Oh boy. What I didn't pause the video to dispute, I agree with. So, take that into account if you're going to use, well, if you've watched the whole video, because then you're clearly going to be using opinion of sort, whether it's intentional or not. That's just how mafia work. This whole situation, if people wanted to, could blow over in a heartbeat. But everybody just needs to get their head out of their goddamn ass to actually do it. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Jay's video. This series, I'll state again, is directed so that Danplan can know what the audience, or at least an intelligent audience, thinks of this. Because not everybody has the tunnel vision that most the community does. People are still here, Daniel. Steven, people are still here to support you. Osa, stay safe. Please. I'd just like to thank you all for watching. The few people who have watched the streams as they go live, thank you. It helps keep me in check during all of this. I mean, thank you for reading. Let's see. Do you guys have any comments, questions, concerns? One viewer? Comments? I'll see this again. Oh, one like? Sweet. Yeah, the one person who's watching this live, you got any comments or questions? I'll just let that catch up for a little bit. I'm very unprofessional, if you can't tell. Yeah, no, I'll answer comments and questions. And the clock hits 12:10. Final time. Alright, well, at 12:15, alright, well, as of until 12:15, I will be reviewing comments if anybody has comments or questions. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. My beautiful leprechauns. Ooh, I had 2 viewers at this point. Okay. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and remember,